let's say you have no idea for what character you want to draw, or any creature design or anything like that. I like to combine my two favorite things. So we're gonna combine, maybe if you have no idea, let's just do an owl and an octopus. Two animals. I spelled it right, shut up. But yes, we're gonna do an owl and an octopus. So here we have an owl and an octopus. Now what we're going to do with this is we're going to combine them into one single creature. The way to do that is, try and strike out their typical, more prominent features. Such as, well, let's do a list. Owl, octopus. Yep. Yeah, so we have an owl and an octopus. Here's their different features and characteristics that really make them very different from each other. Like an owl, you got, well, I should have put wings here, so let's just do that real quick because that's the obvious. You got the owl can extend its neck and turn it 360 degrees. It can extend its body or make it look like it anyway. It has a beak, talons, and it can fly. And the octopus is flexible, camouflage, suction cup, and it can swim. So these are things you're going to want to combine to the best of your ability to get the most out of this character. And let's say you're creating a regular type of character, like a person, a human. You're going to want to jot down your important characteristics that you want in your character and figure out how you're going to mix that in. Here's our first rendition of a owl/octopus. We try to fit in as much easily features, the ones we can just point out face value. So we got the eyes, the owl eyes, that's a good one too as well. The tendrils, I'm not sure if I'm going to add this type of owls, like the ears, like some of the owls have. I'm probably going to go for more of the barn owl. I'm not sure if I'm going to add the beak right here or have it underneath, just how octopuses have them. But you're going to go through many phases. This is not the final phase. Because this right here is what it could also potentially look like. I'm not sure if we're going to have the beak in there or it's going to be more of an owl body with this is the only thing that makes it octopus-like, really, is these like suction cups. This is the owl and this is the octopus. This one's more closer to the owl than there is any type of octopus. I'd say it's right somewhere in the middle, to be honest, on owl and octopus. But now we're gonna do another thing. Now we have more of a design we actually like. This time we incorporated the talons, but the talons are more so on the, since for flexibility purposes, you don't want any like bone structure really, so you want to mitigate that as much as possible. So we're going to put the useful talons, so now we have the talons in here, as the end point of the octopus wide suction tendrils. So we have the tendrils, we have the eyes. Now we're not sure where I'm going to put the beak, so I took it off, and I might have the beak underneath. More so like a squid. So we have the owl octopuses, what could be the final form. So we have the eyes, the talons right here, the suction cup tendrils, the tendrils itself, and the beak is going to have to be up to underneath, so I can't show a picture of that perfectly right here. Then we have the wing-like tendrils. This gives it the ability to potentially fly or at least glide in the air. So, and we do have the owl eyes and even the widow's peak of the barn owl, because I want to be it more like a barn owl than anything else. And the beak's going to have to be underneath. But as you can see, I dumbed it down. I didn't start with 8 tendrils. I thought that was going to be too much for me, so I decided to go 4 tendrils. It's easy, it's basic, and it's closer to the 2 wings ratio as well. And it's way easier to do since it's a simplistic design anyway. But here is the first design. The second one at a different angle to see what this one could potentially look like and maybe add some different type of features. This one, I didn't like the way it creases right here because the mouth should be more upwards where the beak is pointing. And the final design of what it could potentially look like if it's just standing still and more of a defensive, maybe, who knows, Pokemon-esque stance when you throw it out or whatever. This is not supposed to be a Pokemon, but it's looking like that. I could draw more pictures on its flexibility and other things. It could still do these things. We're gonna have to leave that up to imagination for now, because in next video I'm gonna show you how to make a webtoon with just any character you like, and I'm gonna use this one for the example. But when it comes to a creature design like this, you got to have the perfect ratio on what makes sense, you give or take. So I don't think we're going to be able to fit the perfect flight in here because the way the tendrils are, they're going to have to widen out for wings. So maybe I might have it webbed like duck feet or like octopus, how it's webbed between each tendril to fly. It is good enough to where it can flex. This can be squishy. This doesn't have to be a skull right there. It does have its talons to break and pierce things, so that keeps it dangerous. The beak is underneath if it needs to use it, kind of like how squids have their beaks underneath, as I said already. It can do the neck. It won't need to really extend its neck. Maybe I might have it be able to extend its neck in case it needs to reach out a little bit further. But we can leave that up to imagination. Not everything has to be answered instantly, but at least we have a design we're good and working with. So it can basically fly, it's flexible now, it got the suction cups to keep you there, and the talons to rip you apart, and yeah, we created a monster. Dark outside, but that's fine. But let's say you want to show these other features. We're just going to show it doing another type of pose. This is going to kind of be hard, but I'm going to show you right here. I'm going to do a circle. So I skipped right ahead and drew it flying. This is what it looked like if it was flying at you, which is kind of frightening. But it looked like more of a flying hat in the air as it's gliding, as the tendrils try and grip onto something along with its suction cups. Like if it wants to grip onto a tree, these things would be perfect, the talon things. But this is what it would look like if it's gliding and flying through the air. Now we have it jumping out the water, zooming almost octopus-like. And it doesn't have to make perfect sense. You know, you can leave some to imagination, but the idea is 70, at least 85% there, and that's what matters. Here's it creeping on the ocean floor, either hiding, might camouflage itself, or it's just sneaking around waiting to catch its next prey. Now here's the original idea, actually. Before I even got into the owl and octopus, I wanted to draw an owl. And I was like, this is too boring, so let's do an octopus. But I originally got the idea from these random owl clips, they're called. And it looks somewhat like an owl, so I can see why they're called owl clips. I just don't know why it's upside down. And this is what it looks like when it's an owl clip. It looks more like an owl this way. So I tried to replicate it. I was like, I can make something out of this. But I was like, you know what? Let's add another creature into this creature to make it a little bit more interesting. So that's when we started our process. But yes, it all started from this design, see? And I did this all in a span of about an hour. Now I'm gonna clip this all together using an owl clip. Which way should I do it? I'll do it this way. It looks like scissors. Yep, there's the whole entire idea in one sitting. In the next video, I'll show you how to turn this thing into a webtoon fairly quickly. You only need a few panels to get something moving, so I'm going to show you how to do it very quickly.